Councillor Zith stood tall in the grand chambers of the Galactic Council. His mantis-like body gleamed under the bright lights. Today marked his 10,000th year of service. All 27 alien species had sent representatives to honor him. They filled the massive round room with their strange bodies, unusual smells, and different-colored skins. The blue-skinned Arcturian speaker raised his 6-fingered hands. We gather today to celebrate Councillor Zith, whose wisdom has guided us through 10 millennia of peace. The aliens clapped, buzzed, or flashed colors to show their approval. None of them noticed the back doors sliding open. 5 humans in dark blue uniforms walked silently into the chamber. They'd moved to the empty seats in the observer section. The leader, a tall man with gray at his temples, sat down calmly. An aide noticed the newcomers and whispered urgently to the Arcturian speaker. The blue alien's eyes widened. He stopped mid-sentence. The room grew quiet as all eyes turned to look at the visitors. Humans, someone whispered. The word spread through the room like a wave. No council member had seen a human in nearly 500,000 years. Most believed them extinct after what the council records called the necessary quarantine of Earth. This was their nice way of saying they had redirected an asteroid to hit Earth and destroy human civilization. The council had decided humans were dangerous. They were spreading too quickly through space. They did not follow council rules. They were unpredictable. So the council voted to end the human problem before it grew worse. The asteroid hit Earth and caused massive climate change. Billions died. The council watched from space as fires spread across the continents. They saw the oceans rise and cover coastal cities. They monitored as the remaining humans fought over the little food left. After a few hundred years, they stopped checking. They assumed all humans had died. But they were wrong. Unknown to the council, some humans had escaped. 12 ships carrying 15,000 people had left before the asteroid hit. These ships carried Earth's best scientists, engineers, and soldiers. They traveled far beyond council space to the distant Perseus arm of the galaxy. There, they found new worlds. They built new homes. They had children. Those children had children. For 500,000 years, they remembered what had happened to Earth. Each generation told the next about the Council's crime. Each generation improved their technology and prepared for the day they would return. Now, that day had come. The human leader stood up. All Council members fell silent. "I am Admiral John Mason of the Human Reclamation Fleet," he said in a clear, steady voice. "You do not know me, but my people know you well." A gray-skinned alien with bulging eyes stood up. "How is this possible? Humans were quarantined 500,000 years ago." Admiral Mason's face showed no emotion. "You mean humans were nearly exterminated? Let's not hide behind gentle words." The council chamber erupted in nervous whispers. Many members looked afraid. Some reached for communication devices. "Your devices will not work right now," Mason said. "We have temporarily disabled them." The Arcturian speaker tried to regain control. "This is an outrage. You cannot simply appear in council chambers and—" "We can," Mason interrupted. "And we have. For 500 millennia, we have lived beyond your reach. We have evolved. We have advanced. We have remembered." Mason walked slowly down to the center of the chamber. No guards tried to stop him. They seemed frozen in place. "We are the children of Earth," he continued. "We remember what you chose to forget. We have returned not to seek admission to your council, but to announce that your judgment day has arrived." Mason touched a small device on his wrist. Suddenly, view screens appeared around the chamber. Each screen showed a human ship in orbit around a different council homeworld. 500,000 years ago, you decided our fate without giving us a voice," Mason said. "Now we have returned to settle that debt." The council members stared in silent horror at the screens. Their greatest fear had returned from the dead, and it was stronger than ever before. 500,000 years earlier, the massive ship called Endurance drifted through the cold emptiness of space. Inside, 15,000 humans lived, worked, and hoped to survive. They were the last free humans in the universe, escaping just days before the Council's asteroid hit Earth. Dr. Alan Carter stared at the screen showing the ship's failing systems. His gray hair hung in his tired face. The journey was supposed to take 150 years. The passengers would sleep in special pods while the ship traveled to the Perseus Arm, far from Council space. But now, almost 200 years into the journey, they were still less than halfway there. "The navigation system is failing again," said engineer Kate Williams as she entered the control room. Her hands were black with engine grease. "We're being pushed off course by radiation." Alan rubbed his eyes. "How bad is it this time?" "Bad," Kate said. "We've added another 50 years to our journey at least." Neither said what they were thinking. None of the original crew would live to see their new home. They would die on this ship. Only their children and their children's children might reach safety. On the lower decks, people were already angry. Food was running low. The air felt thin and stale. Some wanted to turn back and surrender to the Council. Others wanted to land on any planet they could find, even if it wasn't perfect for humans. "We had riots in Section 4 yesterday," Alan said. 2 people died. Kate nodded. "Same in engineering. They tried to take over the engine room. Said they wanted to turn us around. If we go back, we die," Alan said. "The Council thinks all humans are dead. If they find out they missed some of us, they'll finish the job." Later that day, Alan visited the nursery. 20 babies had been born on the ship so far. He checked each one carefully. Something strange was happening to these space-born children. They were different from their parents. "Look at this," he said to Kate when she joined him. He showed her the test results on his tablet. "Their cells repair damage faster than ours. Their bones are denser. Their brain activity is higher." Kate studied the results. "Is it dangerous?" Alan shook his head. "No, it's helpful. It's like their bodies are adapting to space, evolving." As the years passed, more children were born. Each generation showed more changes. By the time the Endurance had been traveling for 250 years, the children born on the ship could see better in low light. They got sick less often. They learned faster. When Alan died at the age of 92, his granddaughter Julia continued his work. When Kate died at 88, her grandson Paul took over the engines. Finally, after 297 years in space, the 5th generation of crew spotted a suitable planet. It orbited a yellow sun just like Earth's. It had water, plants, and breathable air. Paul Carter, Alan's great-great-grandson, stood on the bridge as they entered orbit around the new world. "We'll call it Haven," he announced to the crowd. 3 days later, the first humans stepped onto Haven's surface. The soil was red, not brown like Earth's. The plants were purple instead of green. 2 moons hung in the sky, but it was beautiful and it was safe. That night, Paul wrote in his journal, "We named this world Haven, but we will never forget the home that was taken from us. One day, we will return to the stars, not as refugees, but as avengers." The humans built their first settlement near a river. They planted seeds they had brought from Earth. They released animals from the ship's storage. Within 10 years, 5,000 humans lived on Haven's surface. Within 50 years, there were 20,000. And with each new generation, the changes continued. Their minds grew sharper. Their bodies grew stronger. Their lives grew longer. The Council had tried to wipe out humanity. Instead, they had forced humans to become something new, something stronger than they had ever been before. And deep in their hearts, generation after generation kept the memory of Earth alive. Someday they would return. Someday they would make the Council pay for what they had done. Colonel Lisa Harper stood at the window of her ship, the Reckoning. Below her, the blue-green planet Haven spread out like a jewel. After 500,000 years, this world had become the center of human civilization. 2 billion humans now lived here, and on 6 nearby planets. "Colonel, the final preparations are complete," said her second-in-command, Jack Powell. "The fleet is ready." Lisa nodded. At 42, she was young for such an important mission. But on Haven, 42 meant she was barely an adult. Humans now lived for over 300 years. Their bodies and minds had changed over the centuries. "Show me the fleet," she said. Jack waved his hand, and the window changed to show the vast space above Haven. 1,000 ships floated there, each one more advanced than anything the Galactic Council could imagine. They were sleek and dark, almost impossible to see against the blackness of space. "They won't be able to detect us," Jack said. "Our ships can bend light around them. To Council sensors, we'll be invisible." Lisa touched the glass. 500,000 years of waiting. Hard to believe the time has finally come. Humans had spent those centuries preparing. While the Council thought humanity was extinct, the people of Haven built a new civilization. They developed technology that could create matter from energy. They learned to harvest power directly from the fabric of space. They even developed limited mind-reading abilities, allowing them to share thoughts without speaking. Most importantly, they never forgot Earth. "Let's begin the briefing," Lisa said. She walked to the command center where 20 officers waited. "Our mission is simple but dangerous," she explained. "We will enter Council space undetected. For 20 years, we will gather intelligence. We will map their worlds, study their defenses, and locate Earth." She showed them images from their long-range scans. "We believe the Council has abandoned Earth. Our scans show it has partly recovered from the asteroid impact. Forests have returned. Oceans have stabilized. But we need to confirm this in person." One officer raised her hand. "Will we make contact with any Council species?" "No," Lisa said firmly. "We observe only. The Council must not know we have returned until we're ready. Remember, many Council species live for thousands of years. Some of the same individuals who voted to destroy Earth may still be alive." 3 days later, the Reckoning and 5 other ships departed Haven. They entered special tunnels in space that allowed them to travel faster than light. In just 2 weeks, they reached the edge of Council territory. "Shields at maximum," Lisa ordered as they emerged from the tunnel. "Activate cloaking systems." The ships vanished from sight. They slipped past Council border stations undetected. For the first time in 500,000 years, humans had returned to the space controlled by those who had tried to wipe them out. For 20 years, Lisa and her crew moved carefully through Council systems. They placed hidden sensors on moons and asteroids. They intercepted communications. They watched Council ships come and go. They learned that the Council had grown complacent. Their technology had barely advanced in thousands of years. They still fought among themselves over resources and territory. In the final year of their mission, Lisa's ship approached a familiar yellow star. Around it orbited the blue planet, Earth. "Take us into orbit," she ordered. "Prepare a landing craft." Hours later, Lisa stood on Earth's surface. The air smelled different than on Haven. The gravity felt slightly stronger. Birds flew overhead, species that had survived the disaster or evolved since. She knelt and touched the soil. "We've come home," she whispered. From her pocket, she took a small device, a quantum beacon. Once activated, it would send a signal to Haven instantly, regardless of distance. The signal would tell the waiting fleet that the first phase was complete. Lisa pressed the button. The beacon glowed blue, then faded. Back on Haven, Admiral John Mason received the signal. He looked at his officers and nodded. "It's time," he said. "Prepare the fleet for departure. After 500,000 years, humanity is going to reclaim what's ours." The Galactic Council chamber was still in shock after Admiral Mason's announcement. The Council members whispered among themselves. Some looked afraid. Others looked angry. "This is impossible," said Ambassador Nilla, an Arcturian with blue skin. "Humans were eliminated 500,000 years ago. Our records confirm this." "Your records are wrong," Admiral Mason said calmly. He stood in the center of the chamber, completely unafraid. "While you believed us extinct, we rebuilt our civilization far beyond your reach." Commander Grade Perkins, standing behind Mason, touched a control on his wrist. Suddenly, thousands of small lights appeared on the large map of Council space displayed on the chamber walls. "What is this?" demanded one of the Council members. "This is happening right now," Mason explained. 10,000 human ships have just entered Council space. They are positioned near your most critical worlds. The chamber erupted in chaos. Council members jumped to their feet, shouting orders to aides, demanding military responses. Ambassador Nilla tried to activate the emergency communication system. Nothing happened. She tried again, frantically pressing buttons. "Your communications are temporarily disabled," Mason said. "Please remain calm. If we wanted to attack, we would have done so already." The oldest council member, Zith, raised one of his mantis-like limbs. The chamber fell silent. "What do you want?" Zith asked simply. Mason nodded to Perkins, who stepped forward holding a small silver device in his hand. "Before I answer that, I want to show you something," Mason said. In the center of the council chamber stood a massive monument. It was a 1,000-ton crystal structure that represented the unity of the 27 species. It had stood there for over 50,000 years. "This device contains what we call quantum displacement technology," Mason explained. "We developed it on Haven, our new homeworld." Perkins pressed a button on the device. Without a sound, without any flash of light or visible effect, the giant crystal monument simply disappeared. It didn't explode or shatter. It was there one moment, and gone the next. The space it had occupied was empty, as if the monument had never existed. The council members stared in silent horror. "The monument has not been destroyed," Mason said. "It has been shifted between dimensional states. We can return it if we choose, or we can leave it in the void between dimensions forever." He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of each council representative. "We can do this to any object. A building, a ship, a moon, perhaps even a planet." Zith's crystalline eyes reflected the light as he stared at the empty space where the monument had been. "What are your terms?" he asked quietly. "3 things," Mason replied. "First, the Council will officially acknowledge its crime against Earth and humanity. The true history will be recorded and taught to all Council species." He paused to let this sink in. "Second, those who made the decision to destroy Earth will surrender to human justice. Many of you live for thousands of years. We believe some of the decision-makers are still alive." Several council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "Third, as reparations, the council will cede authority over 12 border systems to human control. These systems are mostly uninhabited, but rich in resources we will need." "This is outrageous," shouted a Vargan representative, his scale-covered face turning red with anger. "You cannot demand." "We can," Mason interrupted. "And we do. You have 7 days to comply with all terms." "And if we refuse?" asked Ambassador Nilla. Mason's face remained expressionless. "Then we will begin using our displacement technology on selected council worlds, not to destroy them completely. We are not like you. We will not commit genocide, but we will remove your military bases, your government centers, your industrial facilities. We will reduce your civilization to a pre-space level." He turned to leave, then stopped. 7 days. The choice is yours, justice or devastation. As Mason and his team left the chamber, the council erupted once more into panic and argument. Some demanded immediate military response. Others argued for compliance. None noticed the small device Perkins had left behind, recording everything they said. After Admiral Mason left, the council chamber filled with angry voices. The 27 species argued among themselves about what to do. Some wanted to fight. Others wanted to give the humans what they asked for. Councillor Zith, the oldest member, called for quiet. His mantis-like body towered over the others. "We must discuss this calmly," he said. "The humans have technology we do not understand. We must be careful." "We cannot surrender to them," shouted the Vargan representative. His scaled face was dark with anger. "The Vargan Imperium has 10,000 warships. We can crush these humans." Ambassador Nilla of the Arcturians stood up. "Did you not see what they did to the monument? How do you fight an enemy who can make things simply disappear?" Hidden in a small office near the council chamber, Security Chief Victor Walsh listened to everything. He looked human, but no one on the council knew his true identity. For 300 years, he had lived among them as a spy, taking special drugs to stay young. Now he sent reports to Admiral Mason about the council's plans. "They are divided," he wrote. "Some want to fight. Others want to surrender. Zith argues for giving in to our demands." Back in the chamber, the debate continued for hours. Finally, they took a vote. By a narrow margin, they decided to pretend to accept the human terms while secretly planning an attack. "We will tell the humans we agree to their terms," said the Vargan representative. "Meanwhile, we will gather our fleets. We will attack their command ships in 6 days, before their deadline. Without their leaders, they will be confused and weak." Zith shook his head. "This is a mistake. The humans are not what they were 500,000 years ago. They have evolved. They have advanced. If we attack them, they will destroy us." No one listened to him. The council appointed a committee to meet with the humans the next day. They would lie and say they agreed to all terms. Meanwhile, every council species would send their warships to gather for a surprise attack. That night, Ambassador Nilla did something unexpected. She went to the human ship orbiting the council homeworld. She asked to speak with Commander Great Perkins. "I wish to offer you information," she said when they met. "My people, the Arcturians, voted against destroying Earth long ago. We have always regretted what happened." Perkins studied her carefully. "What information do you have?" "The Council is planning to attack your command ships in 6 days," she said. "They are gathering their fleets right now. They hope to destroy your leadership before your deadline." Perkins nodded. "We suspected they might try something like this. Thank you for your honesty." What Nilla didn't know was that the humans already knew everything. Their technology allowed them to monitor all council communications. Victor Walsh had sent detailed reports, and the small device Perkins had left in the chamber had recorded every word. More importantly, the council didn't understand how humans operated now. There were no command ships to target. Every ship captain knew the full plan and could act independently. Even if Admiral Mason and his entire team were killed, the human fleet would continue with their mission. The next day, a council committee met with Admiral Mason. They smiled and nodded and agreed to all his terms. They promised to record the true history, to surrender those who had ordered Earth's destruction, and to give up the 12 border systems. "We are pleased you have chosen wisdom," Mason said, but he knew they were lying. As the council representatives left, one of Mason's officers asked, "Should we warn them that we know their true plans?" "No," Mason replied. "Let them continue. Their attack will fail, and it will show them exactly how outmatched they truly are." Across council space, warships began to move. The council was gathering the largest fleet ever assembled. They believed they could win with overwhelming numbers. They were wrong. On the 6th day, the council launched their attack. 3,000 warships appeared near what they thought were human command vessels. They fired powerful weapons, expecting to destroy the human leadership in one swift strike. But the ships they attacked were empty. They were just shells with no one inside. The real human ships were elsewhere, watching and waiting. Admiral Mason observed the attack from his vessel. "They've made their choice," he said. "Begin the response." Across council space, human ships activated their quantum displacement technology. They didn't target civilian areas. Instead, they focused on military bases, weapon factories, and government buildings. One by one, these structures simply vanished, leaving empty spaces behind. On the Vargan homeworld, their entire defense headquarters disappeared. On the Arcturian planet, their Space Fleet Command Center vanished. On 27 worlds, the centers of military power ceased to exist in an instant. No explosions, no radiation, no civilian deaths, just precise removal of the Council's ability to make war. The Council fleet commanders stared at their screens in horror as reports came in. They had lost their command centers, their supply bases, their communication networks. They had no one to give them orders and nowhere to return to. One by one, the Council ships surrendered. Some tried to flee. A few continued fighting, but were quickly disabled by the humans' superior technology. Within 6 hours, the mighty Council military had been defeated without a single human casualty. On Haven, Chief Justice Olivia Sutton prepared for the trials of those responsible for Earth's destruction. She was 240 years old, with silver hair but a young face. 5 other judges would help her decide the fate of the Council leaders. "We seek justice, not revenge," she told her staff. "We will be fair. We will listen to their defense. We will not become what they were." 3 days later, the first group of Council members arrived on Haven for trial. Among them was Zith, the ancient counselor who had warned against attacking the humans. In a quiet room, Zith met with Justice Sutton before the formal proceedings began. "I voted against destroying your world," Zith said. His voice was tired and sad. "I was young then, only 1,000 years old. I argued that we should contact humanity, try to guide you. But I was outvoted." "Why did they fear us so much?" Sutton asked. Zith's crystal eyes reflected the light. "We saw in humans a reflection of our worst selves, ambitious, innovative, relentless. We feared you would become what we now see you have indeed become, our successors." The trials began the next day. They were broadcast to all human worlds, and to the Council planets as well. The proceedings were calm and orderly. Each defendant could speak, could present evidence, could call witnesses. Some Council members admitted their guilt. Others tried to justify what they had done. A few claimed they had opposed Earth's destruction all along. Meanwhile, some human leaders wanted more severe punishment. General Frank Russell, commander of the Third Fleet, argued for harsh measures. "They tried to wipe us out," he said in a meeting with Admiral Mason. "Why show them mercy? We should do to their worlds what they did to Earth." Mason shook his head. "Because we are not them. Our strength isn't just in our technology or our numbers. It's in our humanity, the very thing they tried to extinguish." "Our ancestors would want revenge," Russell insisted. "Our ancestors would want justice," Mason replied. "There's a difference." The debate continued among human leadership. Even after 500,000 years of evolution and advancement, humans still struggled with the line between justice and vengeance, between punishment and cruelty. In the end, they chose justice. The guilty would be punished. The Council would be reformed. A new order would emerge, with humanity taking its rightful place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as leaders showing a better way forward. 1 year after humans returned to Council space, everything had changed. The old Galactic Council was gone. In its place stood the new Interstellar Cooperative. Humans led this new organization, but all species could join if they agreed to the rules of peace. On Earth, human scientists used advanced technology to heal the planet. They cleaned the oceans. They restored forests. They'd brought back animals that had died out. After 500,000 years, Earth was becoming green and beautiful again. Admiral John Mason stood on a grassy hill overlooking what had once been the city of San Francisco. New trees grew everywhere. Birds sang in the branches. In the distance, the ocean sparkled in the sunlight. "It's hard to believe this was once a wasteland," said Colonel Lisa Harper, who stood beside him. "The asteroid impact turned this whole area to ash." Mason nodded. "Our ancestors would be proud. We've reclaimed their home." The trials on Haven had ended 3 months earlier. Those council members found guilty of destroying Earth received fair punishment. They would spend the rest of their lives helping to rebuild what they had tried to ruin. The Council's official records were changed to tell the true story of what happened to humanity. Was it the revenge our ancestors wanted? Harper asked. We could have destroyed the Council worlds completely. Some people think we should have. We could have wiped them out as they tried to do to us. Mason agreed. But then we would have become what they feared. Our revenge isn't in destroying them, but in showing them a better way to exist among the stars. The next day, representatives from all species gathered on Earth for a special ceremony. They met in a beautiful valley where a new city would soon be built, the capital of the Interstellar Cooperative. Ambassador Nilla, who had warned the humans about the Council's attack, spoke first. For 500,000 years, the Council species believed we had removed humanity from the universe. We were wrong. In trying to destroy you, we only made you stronger. She presented Admiral Mason with a special gift, a crystal bowl containing soil from every Council homeworld, mixed with Earth soil. May this symbolize our new unity, she said. Mason accepted the gift. Then he addressed the gathered representatives. 500,000 years ago, humanity faced extinction. We survived. We evolved. We advanced. Now we return not as victims seeking revenge, but as leaders offering a new beginning. He looked up at the blue sky of Earth. The greatest revenge against those who tried to erase us is to become unforgettable, to reshape the galaxy in ways that ensure no species will ever again face what we faced. After the ceremony, Mason and Harper walked through the valley. Construction robots were already building the first structures of the new capital city. What happens now? Harper asked. Now we build. Mason replied. We explore. We discover. The Perseus arm is just one small part of the galaxy. Beyond our known space are billions of stars we've never visited. He stopped and picked up a handful of Earth soil, letting it run through his fingers. Our ancestors dreamed of reaching the stars. The Council tried to end that dream. But here we are, 500,000 years later, stronger than ever. That night, people celebrated on Earth and on human colony worlds. They had achieved what seemed impossible, justice for a crime committed 500,000 years ago. They had reclaimed their original home. They had established humanity as the leading power in the galaxy. But for Admiral Mason, the most important victory wasn't military or political. It was moral. Humanity had evolved not just physically and technologically, but ethically. When given the power to destroy, they had chosen to rebuild instead. The Council had feared humans would someday take their place. That fear had led them to commit an unforgivable crime. Now, their fear had become reality, but not in the way they had imagined. Humanity had indeed become the dominant force in the galaxy, but as builders of peace rather than agents of destruction. The revenge was complete, and it was sweeter than anyone could have imagined.